Good morning. Hey, welcome to Newfoundland. It's been an awesome week. But I want to kind of go over a few things that I gotta say greatly improved the success of my hunt, and some things I'm seeing some other guys that, to be quite honest with you, I think failed their hunt because of gear and preparation. All right, so today we're going to start with a few things on layering clothing that I think greatly improved the success of my hunt, comfort of my hunt, and ability to do what I needed to do. First of all, I invested pretty heavily in new hunting gear, and I did that for a couple reasons. One, I felt the gear I had for whitetails was not adequate, and it wasn't. I'm also a big duck hunter, and I had a lot of warm clothing. What I've quickly learned is you're sitting for a long time when you're doing these type of hunts for moose and bear here in Newfoundland, and then you're up and you're moving like kilometers, miles to get on the animal you want. And you gotta quickly be able to address the climate with the gear you have. So right now I'm sitting on top of a pretty big hill, as you can see in the background. That hill up over my shoulder here is actually where we started our moose hunt earlier this week, and the wind's probably 10 miles an hour higher up there than it is right here, but it's still pretty windy where I'm at right now. It's 45 degrees right now, so I'm probably sitting at about a 38 to 35 degree wind chill. And sitting here for a long time, it gets chilly. So talk about my layering system, all right? And I'll start from the outside going in to tell you how I kind of strip down to move and then relayer to get back to normal. So I'm wearing a ball cap today. I do have a couple Kuiu hats that are like little beanies, a light one and a heavy one. And so you're gonna say, well, Matt, why are you spending all that money on Kuiu? And yeah, I spent a good chunk of change on Kuiu gear this trip. But I can tell you, it was well worth it. The gear's quality. It's very well made. It's fashioned in such a way where there's pockets in places you need them. Your chest pockets, your hand warmer pockets. The material's awesome. This is great. So what I'm wearing right now here on the outside is the Guide Series jacket. And the Guide Series jacket is a breathable jacket with a fleece lining, a light fleece lining. Very light, but you know, it still keeps me warm. It is not windproof, so if you wore this alone, you'd probably be warm, but you'd feel the wind coming through. But the good thing about that is you could wear just that jacket with a light layer underneath and walk and probably be comfortable in this type of weather. And I'll probably wear this on the way back, just this. So if I strip out of that and I get down to my next layer, because I was going to be sitting here for a while, this is the Kenai jacket. And the Kenai jacket is an insulated jacket. It's light, super light, soft. It's not water repellent versus the Guide jacket is water repellent, not waterproof. And it's been kind of the savior of this trip because I put this on the move. But I will tell you that while I'm walking, I'm sweating in this thing, even this cold temperatures. So I usually start out with a layer down from this. And so my starting layer for the morning is my motto for this whole trip has been go out cold and you'll warm up within minutes. So I am wearing the Merino Wool, I believe it's a 120 mid layer hoodie. All right, and this hoodie works really well even for breaking wind and keeping your ears warm. And then I'm wearing a Merino Wool Kuiu long sleeve shirt underneath. I walk in this. I could probably walk in just this with a short sleeve, but today was a little chillier, so I wore a long sleeve. So base layer Merino Wool, mid layer Merino Wool, and my pants. Now they say you should wear rain pants all the time in Newfoundland, and I would kind of agree with that, but I think you could get away with a couple different options. I am wearing the Katana rain pants. I have worn them about 60% of the time here on my walks. I absolutely detest extra stuff on my legs and hips while I'm moving because I figure it reduces my mobility. So I have been wearing the Attack, I'm not stripping down for you, the Attack pants. And the Attack pants are a water repellent pant. They dry very quickly. I wore these this morning. They're got a very light lining inside them that keeps your legs warm. I have not had to wear long underwear underneath these things yet until today, because I know I'm going to be sitting. I use the Merino Wool zip up side long underwear, the 120s, underneath these today, because I'm going to be up on this rock for a couple hours while I'm glassing. And so base layer Merino Wool underwear underneath. A tack pant could be worn by itself, probably as low as 38, 40-ish, up to probably, I don't know, 60 or 70, but at 50 degrees I was comfortable with that all day long. So why I would wear this walking, no long underwear, stop, I might put long underwear on if it's a short stop. If it's a long stop and it's windy, I'd put the rain pants on. And so rain pants, and when the Packable is wet, these things are nice because they keep your legs dry. And so I didn't wear it this morning. My legs got wet, but my pants quickly dried out. I'm comfortable right now. So going to rain pants, going back on our layer skin Katana jacket, again really thin, has pit zips on there, so while you're walking you can dump a lot of heat. One thing I didn't bring up, and I should, about the attack pants, and this was also another saving grace. So with the attack pants, there's a zipper down either side of the hips all the way to about your lower thigh, and when I'm walking I open that up and it's a mesh panel. It dumps heat like crazy. So I would walk, I'd zip those things down, just dump the heat off, and then when I'd sit, I'd just zip those things back up. Keep that heat inside my legs, put my rain pants on, and then go to my Kenai jacket. Now I did bring a puffy jacket on this trip. I haven't broke it out once. This Kenai's been nice because it breathes. The puffy jacket does not. So if I gotta get up and move a little bit, or move in a hurry, I can take that outer shell off, run this Kenai with the pit zips open. I would probably be pretty comfortable. I might sweat a bit, but I'll still be warm. And then go back to my guide jacket for the outer layer soft shell. Not windproof, wind resistant, not waterproof, but I have worn it a couple rainstorms here. It did pretty well. Last but not least, my other saving grace were these light merino wool gloves. It's when you're walking, your hands are going to get hot too. So I actually got hot wearing these things. They're super thin, but they kept my fingers warm, and I use them as a liner inside the Kenai. This is the pack glove. It's got down inside. Sorry, it's Prime Loft. I can put these inside here and get it a little extra warm. These things are super warm. They squish down to absolutely nothing. So I can put it all in the ball of my hand like that. They're tiny, but they're nice and warm. So light glove for walking, sitting, heavier glove, but they're still light. They're super, they're just absolutely light as a feather, literally. And that's been my my kind of gear for clothing wise. I'll go into some of the other things I've used in this trip in a little bit, but talk a little bit more about the clothing you choose for a trip like this. These trips you're walking a lot, and when I mean a lot, you should plan on a minimum of 6 miles and maybe even a little bit more every day to get to where you need to be. And I talked about the Kuiu line being something that I chose. There are other what we call higher end camo models or camo brands that you could pick. Kuiu actually I thought was the best value, and I'm a former product manager, and I really look at the value prop of their products capabilities, right? And Kuiu just offered ultra light layers, and when you're humping a backpack around these areas, you need to have ultra light layers, and you need to go up and down. Like right now the sun's coming out, I'm probably going to strip down out of this outer jacket and run down just to my Kenai jacket. When the wind picks up again, gets colder, I'll throw it back on again. You need to be kind of adaptable to go up and down. Where I've seen people fail on this trip, and people going in on the initial entry for this trip and other camps, is that they're wearing stuff we wear for whitetails, right? Heavy jackets, insulated jackets, thick, and maybe they'll wear a pair of pants and then put this big, overall. One guy here has bib overalls. Another guy I saw had coveralls. It doesn't work. It's too heavy to carry in your pack, too bulky, and it doesn't allow you to layer and adjust to the level of comfort you need. And so that's key. And I like brands like Drake, Redhead and Cabela's have some great stuff, and Cabela's actually has some stuff that I would say is comparable to the Kuiu line. But I think that when you buy that heavyweight thick fleece or really thick jacket that's the 3-in-1, it's too much. It doesn't adapt to your scenario. So the guys that are here that were wearing standard whitetail clothing froze to death. It wasn't waterproof. They got wet. They were constantly drying their stuff out at night over the stove. And to me, it was just, I was able to throw my rain gear on over this very easily. It wasn't bulky. Everything kind of fit just perfect. And if you're coming on a hunt like this and you're spending $5,000 to $8,000, you want to be comfortable, because the more comfortable you are, the harder you're going to hunt, and the better off you're going to be, the longer you're going to hunt. And we've spent morning till night out here. We're coming back at dark, and you don't want to be miserable. Make this an enjoyable hunt. Buy the right clothing, invest in it. It's well worth it. It will pay dividends on your hunt, I guarantee you. Kuiu is a good line. I'm not sponsored by them, but I gotta tell you, I just enjoy the quality. I harp on quality because that is key. The little things that matter about where zippers are on the pants, outlets for heat dumping, pit zips. Those are all things you should look for in clothing. So whether it's Sitka, Kuiu, whoever, Screech, there's a Canadian brand called Screech. Pick a line, invest in the right layers. Merino wool, synthetics. I found that merino wool is the best thing on earth, and I'll tell you why. Is that when we swam across the river to get my moose, I wore the Kuiu attack pants and a merino wool shirt from Kuiu. I can't think it was the 120, and socks, merino wool socks. And I swam to the other side. It was pouring rain, and even though it's probably 55 degrees and we were quartering that moose out in just that shirt and the attack pants and my socks, I was warm. I was comfortable. I wouldn't say I was extremely comfortable, but I was comfortable where I was, from a survival aspect, I felt I was okay. Swimming back across that river again, I felt pretty warm in that water with that merino wool around me. And then getting the other side, it started drying off really quickly. So highly recommend merino wool. I think this area, more than anything, is better for merino wool because it's damp, it's wet. You want that warm when wet layer. And so I think it's a great scenario to have merino wool base layer and mid layers to have, be wearing while you're moving, and then transition to something thicker when you're sitting. So again, great stuff for whitetails, big thick coats. Kuiu even has a new line that's a lot thicker for tree stand hunting, where you throw that on at the last minute and you're good. But I will tell you that here in Newfoundland, that doesn't work. Again, sun's coming out. I'm gonna be stripping down in a few minutes. Wind's dying down. I don't need to have all this stuff on. I don't need to sweat. And the key thing is to try to avoid sweating. But if you are gonna sweat, merino wool will keep you warm while it's wet. So that's all for this week. Appreciate your time. Again, stay tuned for more gear guides from this trip, and we'll see you back here in the States in a few. Take care.